They complicate this world. These politicians, lawyers, most of them are lawyers, complicate this world. There is no God because there's no scientific proof there's God. Because they call a woman a prostitute. How dare you call a woman a whore and a prostitute? These are the women that pleases our lawyers and politicians and presidents. All cops are wicked, by the way. Now, what does that mean? I didn't say the cops are bad. No, I said they're wicked. Now, what does wicked means?
What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy to my family, to my three children. That's what I could talk about. The legacy to the world, I'm nobody, you know. I know a lot about a lot, but I'm nobody to, you know, when I'm dead and gone and they cremate me, which I prefer not to be. I prefer to be buried because you could always bring me back, you know, and I could try all over again. But my legacy is very simple. I personally would like my children to be somebody, even if it's one out of three, a doctor or a pilot, not a lawyer. I would like to leave that legacy of leaving a child, raise him, and I'm doing that right now, and he's about to attend medical school and all. That's pretty much important to me because I never had the chance to be anybody like a pilot or a doctor. These things I would like to be. Never want to be a lawyer because lawyers are just instigators, and let's say an asteroid was coming to hit the planet. You don't need any lawyers. You need farmers. You need scientists. Lawyers, people, you know, you have to write all kind of laws. You come up with new technology and new this and that, then you got to have a law for it. So you don't need lawyers. You need farmers and all. Lawyers are unimportant. Now they're important because the population is dumbed down, and the more illiterate the population is, the more lawyer you need because the lawyers, they feed off of that, the ignorance of people, you know, and the fear. So anyway, my legacy is to leave a child behind that is somebody, and that somebody would be a doctor, not even a president or anything like that. A doctor, and a doctor that really does care and have empathy, not a doctor that's care about money. So I will be leaving my children money because I'm a landlord, I own a lot of properties and all that. So I says money is second. What you have to do is be a true doctor the way they used to be. Why? Because when I was a child, my mom had diabetes. It eventually killed her, and I couldn't be a doctor to save her. There was pretty much not much medication around then. She must have lost 9 babies, and just my sister and I survived somehow. They all died from, you know, diabetes problem, all these kids. So she kept trying and finally she knocked out 2. We survived, and we seem to be normal, but we both have diabetes. So I have to have a doctor. I have to raise a doctor. I have to leave a doctor behind. A legacy that is rich for me is to leave a child behind. About the world, but there was one man that left a legacy, and we don't even follow it. One guy tried to follow it, this guy King, the Martin Luther King, which wasn't his right name, but he tried to follow what this guy legacy was and what this guy is Gandhi. Gandhi took on the most powerful empire on the planet. That would be the British Empire. He took them on without a gun, without a baton. He destroyed them and bring them to their knees with peace, non-violence. He left a legacy, and do we follow it? No. Then you have another guy, a guy named John Lennon. He laid out the anthem, the Bible, call it whatever you want, the Torah, the song Imagine, the lyrics. If we were to follow that word for word and live a life, we will have a great planet, great people. We don't. These are 2 legacies that we don't live by. How to solve problem with peace and how to live in peace. As in no country, no religion, no borders, all these kind of stuff. We can't live without religion. We can't live without borders. And those are the 2 problems in the world. So they left these great legacy. Who am I to leave legacy for the world? Nobody's going to follow it. My legacy is what those 2 guys do. It's there already. They've done that. I can't repeat it. But we need to repeat it to remind the young generation. But if the young generation can't see it's on Google and in movies they made, it's there for the taking. They could, you know, a couple of clicks and there they are, these legacies. So I got to just look at, you know, my family legacy as a father, you know.
So you bring up a couple like legacies, Martin Luther, Gandhi. You bring up a couple legacies like Gandhi and John Lennon, and you say that those are great legacies. You agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you would think that those are good legacies, that if we followed them, we could solve the problems, all the problems in the world. But you are looking and you're saying, despite these men having left these great legacies, people aren't following it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. If we were to follow those two legacies instead of spending $1 trillion on military war machines and whatever, each country doing that. If each country would say, you know what, let's listen to this song Imagine at the United Nations and follow it. Let's listen to Gandhi along with him saying what he says and look at what he did. We shouldn't spend a dime on any military thing. Use that money to help each other out. How is it that you could live in such a rich nation of the United States? Pick any one of these so-called rich nations. And in these rich nations, right, we have horrible, horrible neighborhoods, horrible cities, Detroit, whatever, even here in Florida. How is that possible? And we have so much money to spend on military and give away to all kind of... So why not use that money for that? They complicate this world. These politicians, lawyers, most of them are lawyers, complicate this world. And I understand a part of it, why they do, because to run a McDonald's or a Burger King or a factory, you need dumb people to do it, not educated people. So you need muscle. So you got to have some millions of dumb people in your country to do the job. And that's the bottom line. You don't need everybody grad. You need one Steve Jobs and one Bill Gates and one Elon Musk. So you just need one out of millions, one smart aleck. And that's how you run a nation. So I know why they're not following John Lennon lyrics of the song Imagine. And I know why they're not following Gandhi, because Gandhi, if peace comes, by war showed us that, women have got brain. They could do, because the men went to war in most countries and the women started doing a lot of work that we didn't think they could do. You see? So war does, brings out good things too. However, this is 2025, and war is bringing out bad things. The women are already working. If that was the one good thing, they're already working. We know they're smart, just like us. They're just as smart as us, just not as strong as us, but they're smart, very, very smart, just like men. Same level when it comes to brain, all right? But we need to stop the wars. We need to take care of the women and the people and all this kind of stuff, and give us a chance to see then what's next. What's next if we start taking care of all these poor neighborhoods in the world? I'm not saying just the United States. The problem is with that we see it now, is that if a child is born to a couple Hollywood stars, those celebrities that are well off, and this child is born, this child has no reason to get up in the morning, do nothing, get an education, do nothing, because they have everything. You see, they have everything. So what is these two celebrities' legacy? To leave that good-for-nothing child? To just leaving that child their money, but nothing. They leave what's their legacy? Being in the movies? That'll all fade away, because when people come to realize, people like me, what do I care about them? They're left, they're no good. They're not good parents. They're just stars, but they left a child that's no good. I want to leave a child that's brilliant, that can do something to the world. Well, not the world, but people in the world, wherever his neighborhood or wherever, that and that is because I'm not a celebrity and not rich and leaving a lot of money to my kids. But the money I do leave for my kids is this is for a roof and this is for transportation. Now you go out there and do something of value, unlike the celebrity kids, which wouldn't do anything. So therefore, there's no legacy they're leaving behind. And what happens if the government of the United States and other countries start spending money on all these poor people and fixing all these things? That's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have a bunch of people that don't want to get up and go to work and do nothing because the government is taking care of them. So to run a country, you got to have dumb people and dumb this and that. So the beat goes on. So there's no solution if you follow John Lennon's lyrics. It's nice. It's a good legacy left behind. We just can't follow it because we're incapable of living that. So what do they do? Look for problems. They invent problems. That's what we pretty much do in the United States. We invent problems. This is a country without any problem. We're the summit of the world. We have zero problem. We just invent them. Pick a problem. We invent it. The basic problems that the rest of the world have right next door to us, Haiti, Cuba, we don't have that problem. You go to Haiti and Cuba and talk about gay man having babies. These people just want some food to eat and water, clean water and electricity. That's what they're still, trying to accomplish and acquire daily. And we don't have that, so we invent new problems and start fighting each other over nonsense all the time, But we can't even get behind a good leader in this country. We want problems. We live for problems. This guy that's running the country now is a great leader, and all we have to do is get behind him and let him do his thing for 4 years, and then you change him, and which is the right thing to do, and bring in somebody else. Well, we can't even do that. So
What values do you want to pass down to your kids? Because you talk about family legacy.
Yeah.
What are the most important values that you want to pass down to your kids?
value number one: lie only if the absolute truth. But try not to lie. Don't lie. Don't show off. Don't get involved with from peer pressure to use drugs and all this and alcohol and drink. Stand your ground and say, I don't want to drink. Why don't you want to? Because I don't like it. I listen to my father. You think I'm able to go and tell my father that you made me drink? I'm talking about my kids. I drink because John made me drink, when my father knows that I don't like drinking. And he doesn't like it too, and smoking and all these, and using dope. I never use any kind of dope in my life, whatever. They got so much names to that. Speaking of that, that's another thing too. Back in the 60s, we only had a handful of drugs, whether it was cocaine and heroin and marijuana, and the stupid government of the United States and religion started locking people up that using those drugs. And look at the results now. If they had just legalized it then, we would have a more refined cocaine that sells in the store like alcohol. Remember what they did in the 30s with alcohol, locking people up. And they had to retract that damn stupid law because of the stupid religious freak and the stupid government that was related. So they had to retract it, and now look at today. Alcohol is refined and sells in any store, wherever. It's refined. They should have done that with those 5 dope that we had. I call them dope because I don't know the name of them. But they didn't do that. They used a violent way. And now look at what we got. We got glue as a drug. You mix this Sudafed with this one as a drug. You go to the drugstore, it's all locked up. All kind of nonsense. And it's the government caused that, and religion. We should have legalized it. We would have refined it. And we would have been selling it like we sell alcohol now. And every little thing would have been all right. In the words of Bob Marley, every little thing was going to be all right. Even though I can't stand his ass too. But anyway, about what I teach my kids: lie when it's the truth. Now, that sounds like an oxymoron, but believe me, in this world we live in, you have to lie to get by sometime. For example, you go to get a job. You think the job wants to hear what the hell you don't know? No, they want to hear what you know. So let's say you go and do a job of a bakery, baking bread for a week, but you didn't like it. So you come and he says, I know a little bit about bakery and baking and all this kind of stuff. Really? That's good. Maybe they won't ask you the details. And if they do, just talk about what you think you know and stick with it. Like if you know a lot, you've been there for a year or two, that's a lie you should tell. So you could get the job, because that's the way of the world. But other than that, do the best you can. And when situation is down, rise to your best.
So just to verify, you think that people should, one of the values you pass down is for your kids to tell the truth.
Yes.
But if you have to lie because it's necessary, then don't necessarily feel ashamed.
Yeah, you must know that it is a fact what you're talking about. Speak facts only and stick by it. That's, stick by it. Like I'm going to say a fact to you. There is no God, because there's no scientific proof there's God. The Pope, he's no closer to any God if there's a God than you and I. He has absolutely no power. He has no mysterious power. He's just a man. That's a fact. Now, the religious people say, there's a God. Prove it. Prove it. Don't give me a bullshit example of a building didn't come up by itself, or a building has a creator. No, that's all bullshit. Show me scientific, a nano proof, 1 nano proof of the existence of God. You can't, because you don't even take the time to understand how the entire universe works. How there's life all over, whether it's microscopic life, and there's life everywhere on this planet. Everywhere you think there can be life, because there's radiation or whatever, there is life. I know God created that life. Chemical did. So because of that, you should know this idea you got in your head that a man with a beard, pretty much white, how did he get to that age anyway? This old man, did he have a mother or something? He's a God, and he created all this. This is the biggest BS you ever heard of. So get it out of your head. As long as you get religion and this fear of God out of your mind, you will do the right thing in life. That's the thing. Now, if you're a wicked person like cops, all cops are wicked, by the way. Now, what does that mean? I didn't say the cops are bad. No, I said they're wicked. Now, what does wicked means? The highway, they tell you not to speed. Don't go past 65, 75 miles an hour, right? But you're doing 80, 90, going fast because there's no traffic and everything on the road. And guess what? Next thing you know, you're pulled over. And you ask the cop, where do you come from? Oh, I saw everything. How could you see everything? I didn't see you because he was hiding. Now, he's supposed to be protecting your life. That's what he said. That's why he's giving you a ticket, the whole system. Why didn't he present himself right to the side of the road where everybody could see him, right? Every few miles you put a cop or you put a fake car cop so people would stay within the limit, right? But that's not what they're doing because they're wicked. They want to write you a ticket. So they're hiding behind the trees. That's what I mean by wicked. And you extend that to other things. A cop pulls over young men that are 18, 19 years old. They're gonna incite something, tease that kid, say bad thing to that kid, say something rough to that kid, because they know what to do. They're trained what to do to make that kid curse them. And then, next thing you know, they take that kid and take his fingerprints, and now they want some blood to the DNA. So now they registered that kid blood and fingerprints, and they got it in their computer system. In case shit happened in the future, they got his record there. That's what they want, the record of every damn human beings. That's what they want, and that's how they get it. That's wickedness. That's what cops are trained to do, be wicked. I didn't say bad. Remember that.
You've talked about some historical figures who inspire you. Is there anybody in your family, like a parent, grandparent, who has inspired you in your life, and how did they inspire you?
My grandfather. My grandfather was a baker. He wanted to, do better than that. And when I was a kid, I was just about 6, 7 years old. We would sit in the chair in his, he had his radiogram playing. He would be sitting there, wouldn't be a high volume, and he'll read the Bible. I remember Sodom and Gomorrah, the 2 CDs. And then he would Genesis and all this kind of stuff. But he would give me the book. He says, read that. I'm just reading the words. I don't know what they mean. I'm 6, 7 years old. And when I'm finished and I give it back to him, he says, do you believe that? Oh, I don't know what to say. And he said, that's all. But it's the Bible he reads every day. And every time he would read these things, he would give it to me and to read it. And then I don't know what it is. But now as I grow and get older, and a lot of other things he told me along the way, there was always fact and truthful what he tells me. But looking back at this man, he was a businessman, has a lot of properties and this big business and all that kind of stuff. And then looking back, and I said, how did he become successful? And how did he not believe in God and all this? As I grew up as a teenager, then I come to realize he threw it out of his mind, the whole idea of religion and God. And he used to do exactly that. So it inspired me because he was successful. I always, put him on a pedestal because of the things he taught me then, including read this and then tell me what you think, even though I couldn't. But now I look back, I read the Bible, a lot of places, a lot of things in the Bible, like Leviticus. It says homosexuality is a sin. So how come the church is allowing that? You see what I mean? All because of one thing again, money, money, money. A homosexual donates $1 million to the church. Hey, he's God's child. But not my grandfather. He says that is wrong, that is and all that. Those are the things he teach you. Sodom and Gomorrah, 1 CD was the people were being bad. Today, what is bad? These people didn't even have whiskey. They didn't even have marijuana. All they would do is drinking wine and dancing. That's all they were doing. And then they call the women prostitute. Why is a woman a prostitute? A woman can't be a prostitute. I tell you something. You know how you get rid of and treat in prison? Let them see a woman giving birth to a child. Take them all. Let them see. And see what they're doing to a woman. And the government again steps in and tell a woman what she must do with her body. And if she wants to be a prostitute, she got to pay a tax. Get the hell out of here. If John doesn't have money and gets paid once a week or once a month, but he needs to get jiggy with it, and there's Mary down the block there, doesn't have a job, or she thinks, you know what, let me please John and John will pay me when he gets his pay. Why not? Why does the government have to get involved? That'll stop John from going and do some kind of thing or something, what we consider a crime. John will go to Mary. Hey, Mary, I don't have $50 or $20 today, but I'll pay you Friday. That's all right, John. I got it written down right here. Here comes the government. Hey, Mary, you got to give us some taxes for that. Just think about the things. And why does the government do that? Because they call a woman a prostitute. How dare you call a woman a whore and a prostitute? These are the women that pleases our lawyers and politicians and presidents. These same whores and prostitutes. They should be called angels and crime solvers. They stop crime stoppers. Stop men from because they give the men what they need, which is the basic thing, food and sex, like any other animal. They give it to the men pays them when they get paid, and there, you have no crime. But now the government is causing the crime. They tax everything. Tax everything. You want toilet tissue, they tax it. You want some clothing to wear, they tax. This microphone I'm talking to, they tax it. The camera, they tax it. This short, they tax it. My hat, I hear, cut everything. I go to eat, they tax it. The bed I sleep on, they tax it. The toilet I sit on, they tax it. Tax. How much taxes do you think people can afford to pay? You work, they tax you. You win at the casino, they tax it. What do you think people are going to do? What do you think people are going to do? Exactly what you see is going on. Shooting up the whole damn malls and shooting up this because they're frustrated and distressed. And remove the tax and you'll see peace. Instead of spending money in the military, use it to spend it, on wherever you need it. And stop taking taxes from people. What do you think?